You're doing everything you've been told to do. Eating less, exercising more, skipping meals, even pushing through long fasts. And yet, your body refuses to budge. The frustration builds because you're not lazy and you're definitely not undisciplined. You've been following the rules, but the rules you've been given are broken. See, when insulin is high, your body's ability to burn fat shuts off. No matter how few calories you eat or how long you fast, insulin is the gatekeeper to fat burning. If that gate stays locked, the only thing your body burns is your patience. Most people never realize that their metabolism isn't stuck, it's blocked. And that block is insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is what keeps your energy low, your cravings high, and your belly fat stubborn. It's what turns even healthy fasting into a struggle because your cells simply can't access the fuel stored inside your fat cells. You think you're fasting for energy, but your body is screaming for sugar because it can't tap into the fat. But here's the good news: you can fix it. And it doesn't require starving yourself or living on willpower. In fact, once you understand a few simple, science-backed fat loss tricks that target insulin directly, your body starts to shift gears. You'll notice your fasting becomes easier, your energy steadier, and the fat that never seemed to move finally starts to melt, especially the dangerous visceral fat around your organs. When you correct the insulin problem, your metabolism finally wakes up. Fat loss stops feeling impossible because your body remembers how to do what it was designed for all along: burn fat for fuel. You might think fasting or eating less automatically flips your body into fat burning mode. But if your insulin is high, that switch never turns on. Insulin is like the bouncer at the door of your fat cells. When it's elevated, no matter how much you beg, those doors stay locked. The energy stored in your fat can't get out, so your body goes hunting for sugar instead. That's why you feel tired, hungry, and frustrated. Even though you're doing everything right, insulin's main job is to move glucose from your bloodstream into your cells for energy. But it's also the body's most powerful fat storage hormone. Whenever you eat, especially anything that raises blood sugar, insulin rises to handle it. The higher or more often it spikes, the longer your body stays in storage mode. In this mode, you're not burning fat, you're protecting it. You could be running on a treadmill or sipping black coffee through your fast, but if insulin is still high, your fat stores remain off limits. What keeps insulin high for so many people isn't just obvious carbs. It's the hidden triggers, the constant snacking, the protein bars labeled healthy, the late night bites that seem harmless. Even small doses of food send insulin signals. Think of insulin like a light switch. Every time you eat, that switch flips on and your body says, store energy. The problem is, most people never let the switch flip off long enough to burn anything. When insulin stays elevated day after day, your cells stop responding to it properly. That's insulin resistance. It's like shouting through a megaphone your body can't hear anymore, so the pancreas sends out even more insulin to get the job done. Over time, you end up with high insulin and high blood sugar. That combination makes fat loss nearly impossible. Even if you fast for hours, the body doesn't burn stored fat efficiently until insulin levels drop low enough to signal it's safe to release energy. If that never happens, fasting feels awful. Low energy, headaches, cravings, because your body isn't tapping into the energy it already has. It's like being locked in a pantry full of food but unable to open the door. The irony is that many people trying to lose fat actually make insulin resistance worse. They eat low fat, high carb diet, foods every few hours to keep their metabolism up. They drink fruit smoothies, chew sugar, free gum, or sip on flavored drinks that still trigger insulin release. The constant trickle of insulin keeps the body in fat storage mode all day. Even a 16-hour fast won't fix it if the eating window is filled with insulin spiking foods. Meal timing matters just as much as what you eat. When you eat late into the evening, insulin has to rise again to handle that food. Since you're not active after dinner, your muscles don't burn that fuel. Your liver stores it, and insulin stays up overnight. You wake up already behind, with insulin high before your day even begins. To reverse that, your body needs long, quiet stretches without insulin, time where it can finally lower the gates and let fat out. That's where proper fasting, strategic meal timing, and low insulin foods come in. When you lower insulin consistently, your metabolism resets. Suddenly, fasting feels easier, energy becomes steady, and fat burning finally turns back on. Insulin isn't your enemy. It's just doing its job. But modern eating patterns force it to work overtime. The secret isn't punishing your body with less food or longer fasts. It's learning how to quiet insulin's signal so your body can access the energy you've already stored. Once you lower that gatekeeper, everything changes. The stubborn belly fat that wouldn't budge. It's not your fault. It's your insulin. And once you fix that, your fat cells finally start to open. When insulin finally begins to fall, your body goes through one of the most powerful transformations in human biology. It switches from storing fat to burning it. This is the metabolic shift that most people never experience because their insulin never stays low long enough. Once it does, the entire fuel system changes direction. Instead of constantly pulling energy from the food you eat, your body starts pulling it from the fat you've already stored. Imagine your metabolism like a hybrid car. When insulin is high, your engine runs on glucose, quick, convenient fuel, but it burns out fast. The moment insulin drops, your body flips over to its other tank, fat. This tank holds enough energy to run for weeks without refueling, but you can't access it until insulin steps aside. That's why lowering insulin isn't just about blood sugar control. It's about unlocking your body's most efficient energy source. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. When you eat, insulin rises to store the incoming fuel. First, your muscles and liver fill up their small glucose tanks. Any extra gets turned into fat and stored, usually around the organs, where it's easiest to stash. But when insulin levels fall, those storage tanks finally open. The liver starts releasing stored fat as ketones, which become a clean, steady energy source for your brain and muscles. Your body shifts from storage mode to burn mode. This is why people who fix their insulin often describe the same thing: their hunger fades, energy stabilizes, and their mood lifts. It's not willpower, it's chemistry. When insulin is low, the body has access to energy all day long. You're no longer riding the blood sugar roller coaster where you crash every few hours and crave another snack. Instead, your body taps into stored fat seamlessly. You wake up energized, not starving. You can go longer between meals because your metabolism finally remembers how to burn fat efficiently. Think of insulin sensitivity as the volume knob on your metabolism. The more sensitive your cells are, the quieter insulin has to speak to get the job done. That means less insulin floating around, fewer cravings, and more fat burning time. When your cells become resistant, insulin has to shout louder, pumping out more and more just to move the same amount of glucose. It's like trying to start a car with a flooded engine. The harder you press, the more stuck it gets. By lowering insulin and improving sensitivity, you restore balance. Muscles begin absorbing glucose again. The liver no longer hoards fat, but starts releasing it as energy. Even your brain runs smoother on ketones. That's why mental clarity improves when you're in fat burning mode. This isn't about starving yourself. It's about teaching your body to use its built-in backup fuel system. A simple example: imagine someone who used to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. Their insulin stayed high from morning until night. When they started pushing breakfast later and cutting out the snacks, their body finally got a break. After a few days, hunger in the morning disappeared, not because of discipline, but because their liver began producing ketones. Their body switched from needing food every few hours to pulling from stored energy. That's the metabolic flexibility insulin resistance had been blocking all along. The key is consistency. Every time you let insulin fall, by spacing meals, reducing carbs, or fasting, your body practices this metabolic switch. Over time, it becomes easier and faster. You train your metabolism the same way you train a muscle. The more often you let insulin rest, the stronger your fat burning system gets. When insulin stays low, fat burning isn't forced, it's natural. Your liver and muscles begin doing what they were designed to do: share energy back and forth with ease. That's when you stop feeling stuck. You're no longer trapped in storage mode, counting calories or fighting cravings. Your body simply burns the fuel it already has. That shift from sugar dependency to fat adaptation is the foundation of real, lasting weight loss. When insulin finally steps aside, your metabolism doesn't just change how it burns energy, it changes who's in control. Fasting has been part of human biology since the beginning of time. Long before grocery stores and snack aisles, our bodies were designed to go through cycles of eating and resting. During those rest periods, insulin would fall, fat would release and energy would flow freely. But modern life has erased that natural rhythm. We wake up and eat, snack between meals, and finish the day with a late night bite, keeping insulin elevated from sunrise to sleep. That's why fasting is such a powerful reset. It's not punishment or deprivation, it's simply giving your body permission to do what it was built to do. When you fast, you're not just skipping meals, you're lowering insulin. Each hour without food gives insulin a chance to drop a little further. After several hours, those levels dip low enough for your body to switch from storing to burning. The liver begins converting stored fat into ketones, which feed your brain and muscles. You're no longer relying on a constant stream of snacks for energy because your own fat stores take over. This process is what restores insulin sensitivity. When insulin finally has a break, your cells start responding to it again. It's like turning down the volume after being blasted by noise all day. The system resets. Studies show that even short, consistent fasting windows can significantly lower fasting insulin levels and improve how your body handles glucose. The best part, you don't have to starve yourself to get the benefit. For most people, the simplest place to start is the 16 and 8 method, fasting for 16 hours and eating within an 8-hour window. That might look like finishing dinner by 7 p.m. and not eating again until 11 a.m. the next day. You're still having 2 meals, you're just giving your body a longer nightly break. For others, especially those who've been stuck for years, the 18 and 6 window can accelerate results, eating in a 6-hour window and fasting for 18. These schedules aren't rigid diets, they're flexible frameworks. The goal isn't perfection, it's consistency. Beginners often worry about hunger or fatigue, but those symptoms usually fade within the first few days as insulin levels settle. The early hunger pangs aren't true starvation. They're your body adjusting from sugar, dependence to fat-fueled energy. Hydration helps immensely. Water, black coffee, or tea keep you comfortable while insulin stays quiet. Electrolytes can also make fasting smoother, especially in the first week. One of the biggest myths about fasting is that it causes muscle loss. In truth, short-term fasting does the opposite. When insulin drops, growth hormone rises, helping preserve lean muscle and promote fat burning. Your body becomes more efficient. It protects muscle because it knows it has access to fat for fuel. That's why, timed fasting, paired with adequate protein during your eating window, leads to fat loss without sacrificing strength. Fasting isn't about pushing harder or going longer than necessary. It's about building a rhythm your metabolism can trust. You might start with a simple 12-hour overnight fast and work up gradually, 14, then 16 hours. Each step gives your body more time to lower insulin and repair. Think of it as metabolic training. The longer you practice, the better your body gets at switching into fat burning mode. The first few weeks are about awareness, noticing how often you reach for food out of habit rather than hunger. Every skipped snack is a victory for your insulin. Every hour you go without eating gives your body another chance to restore balance. Over time, fasting stops feeling restrictive and starts feeling freeing. You're not ruled by hunger anymore because your body has learned to tap into the fuel it's been storing all along. When fasting becomes part of your rhythm, energy stabilizes, focus sharpens, and cravings disappear. You're no longer fighting biology, you're aligning with it. Fasting doesn't fix everything overnight, but it's the fastest natural way to calm insulin, retrain your metabolism, and unlock fat, burning that's been dormant for years. Once you learn to use fasting as a tool, not torture, your body finally remembers how to burn fat effortlessly. Protein is the most overlooked key to fixing insulin resistance and unlocking fat loss. Most people think fasting alone is enough to lower insulin, but fasting without proper protein is like trying to build a fire without wood. There's nothing to sustain it. Protein is the foundation that keeps your metabolism strong, your muscles preserved, and your blood sugar steady as insulin heals. Without it, fasting can stall progress, trigger fatigue, and even cause muscle loss, the very thing that keeps metabolism running efficiently. When you eat protein, it breaks down into amino acids that your body uses for repair, energy, and hormone balance. Unlike carbs, protein has a minimal effect on insulin. It doesn't flood your bloodstream with glucose, and it digests slowly, giving you a stable energy curve instead of a spike and crash. That steady rhythm keeps cravings down and hunger in check, especially during fasting windows. The biggest mistake people make when they start fasting or cutting calories is under-eating protein. When the body doesn't get enough, it starts breaking down muscle to meet its needs. That muscle loss is devastating for fat loss because muscle tissue is the most metabolically active part of your body. It's like the engine that keeps your metabolism humming even at rest. The more muscle you have, the more calories your body burns naturally. But when muscle breaks down, your engine weakens and fat burning slows to a crawl, even if you're fasting perfectly. Smart protein intake fixes that. It supports insulin repair in two key ways. First, protein increases satiety hormones like peptide YY and GLP-1, which naturally suppress appetite and stabilize blood sugar. Second, it triggers glucagon, insulin's opposite, which helps release stored energy and promote fat burning. When you eat enough protein, your body doesn't panic for food every few hours. It feels fed, balanced, and calm. That hormonal stability allows insulin to drop without sending hunger signals through the roof. The goal isn't to overload on protein, but to find the sweet spot, enough to support muscle and repair without overdoing calories. A good starting point for most adults is around 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body weight. That could look like 25-35 grams of protein per meal for women and 35-50 grams for men. Spreading it evenly across meals helps sustain muscle repair and keeps energy levels consistent. The quality of protein matters just as much as the quantity. Whole, unprocessed sources like eggs, poultry, fish, beef, and Greek yogurt give your body complete amino acids and essential nutrients. If you prefer plant-based options, pair legumes with grains or tofu with seeds to balance the amino acid profile. Protein powders can be helpful, but they should supplement, not replace real food. To make protein work for you, build your meals around it, not the other way around. Start with the protein source, then add non-starchy vegetables for fiber and micronutrients, and finish with a healthy fat like avocado, olive oil, or nuts to keep you full longer. This balance not only stabilizes blood sugar, but also extends the benefits of fasting by keeping insulin low between meals. For example, a simple meal like grilled salmon, sauteed greens, and olive oil creates a slow, steady fuel release. Compare that to a healthy, low-fat meal of oatmeal and fruit. It spikes insulin quickly and leaves you hungry in hours. Protein-centered meals are what make fasting sustainable. They prevent energy crashes, reduce cravings, and keep you in fat-burning mode longer. When you combine fasting with adequate protein, your metabolism doesn't slow down. It becomes more efficient. Your body learns to protect muscle, burn fat, and maintain stable energy even with fewer meals. Over time, this balance reverses insulin resistance because your cells no longer experience the constant highs and lows of glucose spikes. Protein isn't just a macronutrient, it's a metabolic signal. It tells your body you're safe, you're fed, and you can burn fat. When that message is clear, fasting stops being a struggle and becomes a rhythm your body thrives in. Once you fix the protein mistake, insulin can finally calm down, energy becomes steady, and fat loss happens naturally, without hunger burnout or fear of losing your progress. Most people who struggle to lose fat aren't sabotaged by big cheat meals or desserts. It's the little things that sneak in between. The drizzle of sauce on grilled chicken, the zero sugar drink that still tastes sweet, the protein bar labeled Keto, friendly, that hides a dozen grams of carbs. These small, constant hits of sugar or artificial sweetness keep insulin elevated just enough to block fat burning. They don't look dangerous, but they keep your metabolism stuck in storage mode. When it comes to insulin, the body doesn't care about portion size. It cares about the signal. Every time your tongue tastes something sweet or your bloodstream detects a trickle of glucose, insulin rises to handle it. Even tiny spikes, repeated all day, stop the fat burning process cold. It's like flicking the light switch on and off every few minutes. Your body never gets a chance to rest in the dark. That's why so many people fast faithfully, skip meals, and still don't lose weight. They're unknowingly feeding insulin through the back door. Hidden carbs are everywhere. That splash of almond milk in your coffee, the ketchup or teriyaki glaze on dinner, the handful of nuts you eat mindlessly while cooking, all of them can add up, even healthy. Options like granola, smoothies, or low-fat yogurt can pack enough sugar to keep insulin humming for hours. The labels often hide it behind names like maltodextrin, tapioca syrup, or agave nectar, all of which hit your bloodstream like table sugar. The biggest trap is the illusion of control. You think you're eating clean because you've cut bread and desserts, but your insulin stays high from hidden carbs in condiments, snacks, and drinks. The average person underestimates their daily carb intake by 30 to 50%. That's the difference between a body that burns fat and one that hoards it. The fix starts with awareness. Begin by tracking your meals for just a few days. Not calories, but ingredients. Look for sneaky carb sources like sauces, salad dressings, flavored coffees, and prepackaged low-carb foods. You'll quickly notice patterns. Places where sugar or starch sneaks in without you realizing it. Once you see it, it's easy to swap it out. Simple replacements make a massive difference. Replace sweet sauces with herbs, lemon, or olive oil. Choose sparkling water with electrolytes instead of flavored seltzers. Use heavy cream or unsweetened almond milk in your coffee instead of oat or soy milk. Swap store-bought protein bars for a handful of boiled eggs or a piece of cheese. Each small change lowers the insulin load, giving your body longer stretches in true fat burning mode. Even artificial sweeteners can interfere. While some, like stevia or monk fruit, have minimal effects, others still trigger insulin or cravings for sugar. If your progress stalls, try cutting all sweetness, even the safe ones, for a week. The clarity and energy that return are a sign your insulin finally got a break. One of the best indicators that hidden carbs are sabotaging you is when fasting feels harder than it should. If you're hitting the 14 or 16-hour mark and still fighting hunger or fatigue, chances are insulin never dropped as low as you think. Removing sneaky carbs often makes fasting smoother almost overnight. You'll notice hunger fading earlier, energy lasting longer, and fat loss restarting, because your body can finally switch fully into fat burning mode. Your body's insulin response is incredibly sensitive. It doesn't take a big mistake to throw it off. Just a few grams of hidden sugar or an unplanned snack. But the opposite is also true. Even small corrections bring fast results. When you remove those silent carb triggers, insulin drops naturally, inflammation calms, and your metabolism wakes up again. What surprises most people is how quickly this shift happens. Within days of cutting hidden carbs, fasting becomes easier, cravings disappear, and mental focus improves. That's your body telling you the signal is clear. Insulin is low and fat is now the preferred fuel. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be precise. Awareness of hidden carbs turns guesswork into progress. Once you stop unknowingly feeding insulin, fasting stops being a fight, and your fat burning finally works the way it's meant to. When you finally put all the pieces together, fasting, protein balance, and carb control, something remarkable happens. Your body starts working with you instead of against you. The frustration fades, energy rises, and fat loss stops being this uphill battle you're constantly fighting. Instead, it becomes a rhythm, one your metabolism was designed to follow all along. It starts with fasting, the simplest way to lower insulin and remind your body how to burn fat. Every hour you spend without food allows insulin to drop a little further, giving your cells time to rest and reset. But fasting alone can't carry you if your meals, when you do eat, spike insulin right back up. That's where protein and carb awareness come in. They complete the cycle. Together, they build a sustainable pattern of low insulin, stable energy, and consistent fat burning. Protein keeps your metabolism strong through the process. It protects your muscle, the very tissue that determines how efficiently your body burns fat. It stabilizes blood sugar and reduces cravings, allowing you to fast longer and feel better doing it. When your meals are built around quality protein, your hunger finally quiets down. You stop chasing food all day because your body feels fed, nourished, and balanced. Then comes carb control, the quiet discipline that makes everything else click. By cutting out hidden sugars, sweetened drinks, and those sneaky sauces, you give your body room to breathe. Insulin stays low for longer, and your fat-burning engine has time to run. It doesn't take perfection, it takes consistency. Even small carb corrections, swapping sweetened coffee for black, replacing cereal with eggs, or skipping snacks can have a dramatic effect on insulin. Within days, your body starts responding differently. You wake up lighter, clearer, and more energized because your metabolism is finally syncing with your habits. When these three pillars work together, insulin resistance doesn't stand a chance. Your fasting windows lower insulin, your protein intake preserves lean muscle, and your carb awareness keeps those levels steady. That's how visceral fat, the dangerous kind around your organs, starts to shrink. Your liver functions better, your blood sugar stabilizes, and your energy feels even throughout the day. This isn't just about looking leaner. It's about reclaiming control of your metabolism and health. You'll notice small but powerful shifts. Meals satisfy you longer. Fasting feels easier. The mental fog that used to cloud your mornings begins to lift. Cravings for sugar fade because your body no longer depends on it. These are signs that insulin is healing, that your metabolism is becoming flexible again. When your body can move smoothly between fasting and feeding, between using glucose and burning fat, you become metabolically strong. The real transformation isn't just in how you look, it's in how you feel. You're no longer tired after meals, no longer trapped by hunger every few hours, no longer discouraged by a scale that doesn't move. Your energy becomes steady, your mind clear, and your confidence grows as your body starts doing the work for you. It's the difference between fighting biology and flowing with it. The most powerful part. This isn't complicated. You don't need exotic supplements, crash diets, or long fasts. You just need to master a few simple habits. Eat in windows that let insulin rest, center your meals around protein, and remove the hidden carbs that keep you stuck. Each habit reinforces the other, creating a system your body can sustain for life. Once you learn how to keep insulin calm, everything else falls into place. Fat loss, energy, focus, even emotional stability. Your body doesn't just change on the outside, it begins to heal on the inside. The same metabolism that once worked against you becomes your greatest ally. You're no longer chasing fat loss. Your body is doing it for you quietly and consistently because it finally remembers how